Hey there, it's Mark. Thanks for checking out today's video where I'm going to be setting up my very first week inside of my 2021 bullet journal. Well, you know, if you haven't seen the video, I'm about halfway through my current bullet journal, but I kicked everything off with a few great pages. If you haven't checked out my setup video, you can check that out up above. But today, just wanted to take you through some ideas that I had. I got some new toys for Christmas for my wife and my kids, so I put them into play. I love it and it's so cool, so I'm excited to set this up with you. So let's go ahead and get started right now. So to get started, I'm opening up my Archer and Olive Square bullet journal. You can use my discount code MENWHOBULLET10 to get 10% off all of your Archer and Olive purchases. And I'm also going to be using these awesome stencils that my wife got me. These are from Amazon. I actually put them up on my Amazon shop, which is amazon.com/shop/menwhobullet, and also I'll put the links below. But for this one, I'm going to use this iPhone shaped one. It has all of the icons right inside of it, which is super cool. And then I'm going to use the message bubble here to set out my days of the week. I'm also going to use these stencils that I got from Sunny Streak, another holiday gift from my wife and my kids, for some of the lettering. This was a really cool stencil set that I got. I'll also link them below, but I'll be using this for the top header for January. So as I set this up, the way that I gridded this out was actually just using my resource grid in the back of the page. I needed 5 days of the week, so I went to the back, found my 5-day layout. So that starts at 6 spaces with 1 in between each for 5 main spaces. So I just started at the top, gave myself enough space, and went all the way down to get that spacing. For the phone version here, all I did was just trace around the phone here. And what's really neat about this is that not only can I easily get a shape of a phone, but it also has these really cool dots on the top corners here that I can use for the screen. All you have to do is just line it up where you want, and I'll just put little marks here and then go back in and connect them. Obviously, I already did that with my pencil before. I didn't have to do that, but I did just want to show you how it works to create a really quick and easy screen and iPhone all together. So for the message bubbles, I thought these are really cool. If I think about phones, I mostly think about texting. And because this stencil already exists, I don't have to worry about trying to create my own text bubble. Not that it's hard, but you know, I want it to look consistent and look really nice and sharp. That's what I love about stencils. It helps you get that really crisp look. Now I could write out January just using my handwriting, but because I have these stencils, as I said in one of my setup videos, if I have the stationery, I'm going to use the stationery. So I have a lot of stencils, especially these letter ones, so I want to make sure that I get them into use. The one thing that I wanted to chat with you about just real quick is that when you use stencils, obviously it needs to kind of hold together and you'll have some spaces in between your letters. What you can do and what you should do if you're looking for that style is that when you go back in to color them in, you just want to connect those lines so that it doesn't look like a stencil. I'm going to clean this up just a little bit and erase over the pencil just so you can see, and then I'm going to go back in with my mild liner here and fill in all of those spaces. Connecting those letters really helps this feel less like a stencil and more like really nice handwriting. So it's kind of faking it in a little bit, but I really love the way it looks and these stencils were super helpful. Now for the quote, I wanted to go with something that really kind of started off my year. And as a designer, thinking about simplicity, but also thinking about my layouts as well, right? Simplicity is about subtracting the obvious and adding the meaningful. And my theme overall for this year is about celebrating things. I want to celebrate the good things that are going on. And to do that, I'm going to add in the meaningful into my bullet journal. Now to do the lettering, I actually used the spacing that was inside of the stencil and just kind of line myself up. This is one of the reasons I always say to start with pencil, because if I did that straight in pen, I would have messed up. To fill this in, I'm going to use the Dingbats Add a Pen brush pen here in blue. This works really well, especially with that brush tip. You can get into those small crevices. Now I am going to add a little bit of dimension to this. An easy way to add dimension to anything you put inside of your planner is using a light gray marker right underneath of it and creating that drop shadow. Now what I love about the light gray is that if it's too light for you, you can go over it again, over those same strokes with that pen and get a little bit darker feel. And as you can see here, it really does help to elevate those bubbles off of the page. Now that I have everything colored in and inked in, I'm going to use my Uniball Signo white gel pen. I've mentioned this probably 100 times by now, but I absolutely love these white gel pens. I'll also put the links to those down in the description below. So but I'm only going to use the priorities to do and yay parts of this. That's what I love about, come back to that in just a second. But we're going to set up our priorities and our to-dos on this right-hand tier page without having to do it yourself. I especially love washi that has numbers on it or able to create that handwriting to do it. And in some cases, it's also just really easy to pop it on your page a bit so it'll stick nice and flat on the page here. Top 5 of a monthly overview, and then also I'm doing a celebrate of the year for my yearly spreads. I'm going to continue to use my stencil here because there was a really nice check mark icon here of my befores and afters of my week to weeks, because I'm a firm believer that an after the pick, can check out some of my other bullet journal inspiration videos in this playlist up above. I just have so many different plans with me. I just threw them all together for you so you can watch through some of those, especially if you spark some ideas. If you haven't done so already, I'd love for you to subscribe to this channel and tap that. I've been throwing in some weekend videos as well, especially if it's like a real quick, like plan with me a tutorial or maybe an idea that I have. I'd like to get those out there as well. You can always count on me for something